Welcome to edition 42, part 2 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers, and as long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
That sound is my dog fucking sauntering through the living room while we're recording. Yes, part 2. We've done quite a tight turnaround on this one, mate.
We have.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Get
it out, yeah.
This will. I guarantee. I'll tell you now. This will be out on Sunday.
The Lord's Day.
The Lord's Day.
Sit down, please. Sit. Absolutely no respect. Good boy. It's my brilliant dog. Okay, great. All right. Let's sit on Sunday.
Don't you worry.
I stopped myself from telling a story that I haven't told.
Go on.
Apparently, if this is wrong and I have told it before. Blame the two people on Instagram who said that they hadn't heard it. But I mentioned sausages and my friend Will Duggan, and he worked in a
friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Will Duggan. Showbiz friend. No, that means you're fucking them, doesn't it? And they're gay.
Does it?
Dear old Showbiz pal is code for someone you have sex with when you're gay.
He's also my London neighbour, which definitely sounds like.
Yeah. That definitely, yes.
He's my London neighbour.
If you catch my drift. He worked in a harvester and people would complain that the sausages were raw in the middle, that they weren't cooked. And he was like, what you want to say is, I know they're not, he said, no, they're cold in the middle. I know they're not raw in the middle because they cook them in Birmingham, freeze them, send them over here and we microwave them. Maybe we should beep out the name of the
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do. Restaurant.
It's not a restaurant.
Eatery.
Trough,
yeah.
Trough with some toilets.
Yeah, horrible that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right off.
He used to work with a girl who was like, I'm probably paraphrasing really badly here, but he had something happen, like, he was ill, like something quite big, like say he's, I don't know, it's got a sprained a tendon, and then he'd come in and he'd be like, and she's like, oh, where were you? He's like, I sprained a tendon or whatever, and she's like, well, I had a miscarriage at 16. like one of those. He'd be like, okay. Always got a top trump or something. He'd be like, I think that's bad. The kid's biological dad's back and he kicked the door down last night. Like one of those.
Not seen him for 15 years.
Right, so back to Robert Pickton.
Robert Pickton. I will be glad to see the back of him.
This gets horrible.
Yeah.
This gets horrible. So, the background of this is in Vancouver, which is a very hip place, isn't it?
I think so. I've not been to Vancouver. I've been to Toronto.
Bragging.
And London, which is in...
the greatest city in the world?
No, Canada. London in Canada. Where else have I been? Been somewhere else there. Very nice.
Well, Vancouver, I think, is meant to be quite a cool, hip city. Like, kind of...
guitar bands and skinny jeans and...
Well, I think it's quite bohemian. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone, roasts their own organic coffee and, everyone's got a pop-up restaurant and rich parents subsidising them. But I'm going purely off someone, a mate of my ex-boyfriend's who's over there, who's like, hey man, I just want to get off grid and unplug from the system, which is exactly what people say who have the freedom to have no responsibility. I never see a single mum who's raised on a council estate going, I'm just going off grid, man. Like, I just want to tap out of this mad rat race. Like, it's only people who have the privilege to access that.
Going off grid. I mean... You're off the grid already.
Arse, you fucking idiot.
Your golden grid.
They got married in a forest ceremony. Is he sneezing?
Yeah.
That was a dog sneeze, which also sounds like a fun name for a queef.
Yeah, it does a bit.
Fucking love queefs. I haven't done one in ages. What a shame.
Anyway. I'm not getting involved in this conversation. I'm not getting involved. I'm out on this one.
Do you think we'll get some cute lady who listens from America going, what's a queef?
Yeah, somebody will. I think that's an American term though as well, is it not?
You know what? I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. But I'm not getting involved.
Maybe one of the 6 people who listen in Ethiopia are going to...
Like, what?
Okay, right. All? So this is a...
Just don't Google it, that's all I'm going to say.
I looked at the Wikipedia page. It's really funny of it once. This is from years ago when I was trying to write some stand-up about it because I was going to talk about how great they were. And it was like... So it sort of explains what it is, and then it goes... It shouldn't smell. Like, a part of the Wikipedia page is like, if it smells, go to a doctor. It's really funny that obviously they've had to put a bit in there and be like, it shouldn't smell like an actual fart, but if it does, call a doctor. Because you can, because this is the thing, it was like, you can rupture the wall between your womb and your, like, poo bit. So if it smells, bad news. You basically got one hole like a pencil top.
Is this a bad dream? You telling me this is knocking me sick?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's proper horrible. I mean, I thought Pickton was bad, but this is turning my stomach, mate.
Okay, let's keep it to the incredibly bleak settings. So, Vancouver, there's this area called Low Track, which is where sort of a lot of sex workers are, a lot of drug addicts, and this is where Pickton used to knock about.
Yeah.
And he used to pick up people.
Yes.
It has the highest HIV infection rate in North America.
Wow.
It's really bleak. And
There's also, what was that horrible...
There's an area called Kiddie Stroll where there's particularly young-looking sex workers, because some of them start at 11. In fact, they did this big survey of the sex workers down there in 1995. They found that 73% of them started as kids.
Oh, it's so depressing,
It's so depressing. I think it's like 2/3... Oh, yeah, the same amount of them were single mothers, and 90% of them had kids taken off them by the state. And in 1998, there was a death every day from drugs in that area.
Jesus.
Isn't that mad?
It's horrible, isn't it?
Which is the highest in Canadian history. Why is that being ignored then? Why are they just like, well, that's how it is? Why aren't there like huge infrastructures down there helping these people? And you know, why don't the police have a constant positive presence?
Do you remember that news story? It reminds me of that news story. Like, I think we put it on the page last year, and I sent it to you. And it was somewhere in South America.
Oh yeah, first day without murder.
First day without murder in something like like 15 years or something. Yeah.
Well, also 3/4. They use this phrase, and then we had a bit of a back and forth about it. 3/4 of the sex workers there they're described as Aboriginals, and I was like, what? As in from Australia? But they mean because they have obviously native populations in Canada, and that Aboriginal is the term for the various sort of tribes of what I guess people would have said is sort of in America, Native American Indians. So these like the Mohawk tribe, but it also includes Inuits and another group of people. So that they're all broadly called Aboriginals. So of those, 3/4 of the people who work down there are Aboriginals, which is another sign that like, it's another place that treats their native population like fucking dirt and pariahs and expect them to, there's huge problems with addiction because it's, I guess, hard to... You think Canada is being a really progressive place, don't you?
Yeah.
But, like, obviously everywhere has their problems.
Yeah, everywhere's got problems, yeah.
It's very profound of us, isn't it? Everywhere's got problems, actually.
Everywhere has their problems.
Not us, mate.
Piggy Palace had its problems.
Fucking Piggy Palace.
I'll tell you that.
This reminds me a little bit of H.H. Holmes because... You know, there was the World Fair, so there was loads of people passing through Chicago. So there was an expo in 86 in this area, and 3 years before, they know is when the first girl goes missing. But loads of people are passing through and go missing during this time. But because there's a flood of people passing through, they don't notice. In fact, it's 14 years after the first woman goes missing that the police even notice. And by that time, more than like 25 women have gone.
Jesus.
Back to Piggy Palace, mate.
So Piggy Palace was part of the problem. Horrible. So Pickton and his brother have they've turned a barn on their pig farm into a bar.
I quite like people who make their own bars. Didn't you? I kept eyeing up like 1970s bars for you.
Yeah.
Did you want
the
one?
last thing I need is a bar. I'd love, like, I've always wanted one. I've always wanted my own bar. In fact, I went through this stage of being really obsessed. One thing that I've always wanted to have a room in a house that I turn into a pub.
Have you seen Mike Bobbins has got one of those?
Does he really?
Yeah, brilliant comedian and Elvis impersonator from Barry Island. Mike Bobbins has a full like 1970s bar with like shag pile carpet in his basement. It's great.
That's the dream.
Yeah, and then people who like turn a shed at the bottom of their garden, they call it like the Red Lion or whatever, and there's like 3 draft things in there.
I would love a bar, like a corner bar. As I say though, it's probably the last thing that I need. I very rarely drink in the house. That's a lie, innit?
Yeah, fucking huge one.
Totally lied there.
Absolutely huge. I've got a very well stocked drinks globe in my house. I don't really drink, but sometimes I like having nice bottles of booze. So yeah, and my fella's about to move in. He's also got a drinks globe. I live in a terrace house. There's basically 2 up, 2 down, and I'm about to have 2 drinks globes.
Have one upstairs.
I was gonna have one in the bathroom. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Fill it full of shampoo.
I bet Oliver Reed used to have 2 drinks clubs, didn't he? You just get out of bed.
Yeah. Which one am I going to shit myself in front of today?
Oh, yeah, so the bar, they turned the bar into a bar, which is very difficult to say, actually. And they also set it up as a charity.
Yeah, because they're millionaires by this point because they're selling off the farm. So Dave used to throw these massive parties, and they said, this is so mad that they found out years later that Piggy Palace was a registered charity that was, what did they say? They passed it off as, was like there for community events?
Yeah, and it's sort of community events and, social gatherings, and it was for, to help people out and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was basically a load of drug addicts and sex workers going over to these weird millionaires' house.
And bikers as well.
Bikers, yeah. But weren't the bikers like, oh, it wasn't very nice there? Or like, and also, what's the phrase? Is it longshoremen used to come, basically like visiting. Yeah, that's the right phrase, right? Longshoremen?
What is that?
Isn't it just like someone who works on the boats who's in for a bit?
A seaman?
If you want, yeah. Jesus Christ.
I can't believe I've just laughed at that. I'm so pathetic.
So yeah, the longshoremen would come there and they were like, I've never seen a place like it. And these are people who used to go to fucking all sorts of places.
Oh my God.
But even the guy in the, the Astoria, that rough hotel.
The horrible bar, yeah.
Yeah, horrible bar I used to hang around with. He described Pickton. He said, the faker, because the journalist went and was like, do you remember Robert Pickton? He went, the faker. He said, yeah, he sit on his own at that table all the time. And they were like, oh, he must have really shocked you when he was a serial killer. And the guy at the bar was like, no. And he was like, really? And he said, and the quote was, you can't imagine hanging out with a guy like that without something bad happening.
Oh.
You know a few of them, don't you, mate?
I do know a few of them, definitely. With hindsight is the phrase that I keep using quite a lot at the moment. With hindsight.
But it just sounds like a really weird, sort of hedonistic, grubby, transient kind of place to be. Now, Dave, we'll talk about Dave later, but he's just a pig farmer who's turned into a millionaire, and then his weird brother's knocking around the place. So he's managing the farm. At this point, Willie is still in the abattoir. Linda's gone. She's not even in the area.
She's made the right decision.
Well, we don't even know what it could be. She could have married a man called Evangelista. We don't know anything about Linda.
Linda Evangelista.
Yeah.
I saw her years ago.
Really?
At the height of her supermodel fame, yeah. I used to work in Kendall's House of Fraser now, in Manchester, one of my first jobs. And it's not all been showbiz. And she was going out with the Manchester United goalkeeper at the time, Fabian Barthez, and they were shopping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did they buy anything?
They didn't. I worked on Wallace. She was probably like 28 at the time. It wasn't for her.
No. Well, how do you explain Wallace to people who aren't British?
It's like, right.
Or 50.
So it's a shop that if you were going to a funeral and didn't have anything to wear and wanted to look respectful, you'd probably stop off at Wallace. If you were going to a fancy dress party as Margaret Thatcher, you'd probably stop in at Wallace.
Yeah, it's kind of conservative women's wear.
Yeah.
Like older women's
Twin
wear.
sets.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Nothing above the knee.
Yeah. No, it's...
Quite Mother of the Bride vibes.
They've had a bit of a rebrand recently, and you can find, there's the odd thing in there that might be all right.
I wonder what it's named after. Presumably not the American divorcee that stole our king.
I don't think it was that. I worked there for a bit. I also worked on men's shoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where I served David Beckham.
What?
The smuggest man.
What did he buy? Smug.
Pair of shoes. He was smug. He is smug. I've seen him. In fact, I saw him in London the other week, driving up the road, looking smug. I've seen him driving down the main road where we are.
Really?
Now, yeah, about 10 years ago, in a Bentley, looking smug.
What? Yeah. Wouldn't you be smug though if you were fucking a Spice Girl and driving a Bentley?
No.
Are you sure he's smug, or are you just projecting that?
No, he's so self-satisfied, that man, that every time I see a picture...
He's self-actualised, though. Like, he's at the peak of his profession. He's got, kids, he's charity work. He is self-actual. All right, sick as pig shit.
Look.
But, I'm
not bothered.
Surely he's got the dream. You get to be smug if you've got the dream life.
No, you have a bit of humility. But also, I just don't... I've never liked the man. And let's all not forget that he sent an email last year when he didn't get a knighthood. Because he's a prissy little madam.
Oh God, I can't say on the podcast. But wait till the live shows. Someone at the live shows remind me what I know about those emails.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Tell me after this.
Yeah, I'll tell you after this.
I've just never liked him. Don't like him at all. And also, I don't even think he was that great at football.
Here we go.
If he hadn't scored that goal from the halfway line all those years ago.
But he did, because he's good at his job.
He got lucky.
Fucking hell, you're harsh.
I just don't like...
Excuse me, I'm coughing now.
Just don't like him.
Well, I think if I had his life, I would be smug. I can't stop coughing. You just sit there and stare, mate. Don't worry about this.
I don't know what do you want me to do?
If I die, she's done it.
I'll just edit it out.
The perfect crime. So you'll be like BTK. You'll be like, can you trace what's been cut on a SD recorder card? And the police will be like, no. And you'll be like, all right, I'm going to send you this over.
Also, other celebrity I served, I have to beat this name out, threw a coat at me.
Really?
Yeah, absolute piece of shit, that woman. She was horrible. Rudest person I've ever met. Who else? Robbie Fowler, the footballer.
Is she the one who's on that programme at the moment? Right.
Footballer, him and his wife, probably the two of the most disgusting human beings I've ever met.
Really?
Horrible. Absolutely disgusting. Coronation Street people, always really nice.
Audrey's always in there. I saw Surfy. I used to work in Hanson Fraser for a couple of shifts when they needed cover over there. Yeah, they're always in there, the Corrie lot, aren't they?
Yeah, always. Always really nice, though. Always really friendly. Liz Dawn, she was lovely.
Oh, Vera.
Deirdre, she was lovely.
Deirdre, she was meant to be very nice.
Yeah,
very cool, wasn't she?
Proper laugh. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, real proper laugh. Really nice to everyone. And Audrey, yeah, she's really nice.
You're like this.
Go on.
Old Willie didn't drink or smoke.
Incredible. There's no excuse for anything that he's done. You couldn't even say I was pissed.
Yeah, or really needed a fag.
Yeah.
That's why I killed that poor woman. Awful. Yeah, I mean... It's so weird because he looks like he looks like a drinker and a smoker.
He does.
Well, he looks like he drinks cigarettes and smokes booze. Like, he looks so hardcore.
He does look awful. Yeah, I mean, if you don't drink or smoke, that's fine. I don't think that, you know...
She doesn't mean that, but...
No, I do. It's absolutely fine. I mean, smoking's just stupid. But I genuinely, the other day, I went to Nando's with friend of the show, Will Duggan, and London neighbour, and, I mean, it's the high life that we live in. Because it's been Christmas, I was like, I'm not going to have a drink. And Will was like, oh no, I'm not going to have a drink either. I was like, oh, brilliant. Anyway, I had 3 glasses of red wine, and he stuck to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then afterwards I was like, oh, really sorry that I drank now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He told me he was doing drier January. I said, what's that? And he said, well, it's not dry January, but it is drier than I have been.
Yeah.
So he's just cutting down on the old booze, I think.
He is.
So he stops bursting into tears. Anyway, apparently these parties, he said that they were when the police asked about them, they went, oh, no, these are for charity. They're charity fundraising balls full of Hell's Angels. Because that's why they called him a faker at this story, because he desperately wanted to be a Hell's Angel and a biker. And they were thrown for his employees. Now, a relative of one of the women that went missing, called the police saying, listen, they went to this Piggy Palace and they've never come back. Mm-hmm. And they've just never come back from this farm, and the police just didn't investigate it.
Well, the police have proved themselves to be pretty bloody useless, as is tradition in a lot of these cases. So there's a lot of women going missing, and a lot of them were from the low track area.
Yeah.
So the police's attitude was, well, they will get into cars with strangers.
Absolutely.
Which, do you have that attitude towards children who might get into a car with a stranger as well? Well, I know he's 7, but he did get in a car with a stranger, so we're not going to do anything about it. And there was just so many people going missing. I mean, the first disappearance was 1983, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it took them 19 years and 62 women missing before they thought, oh, this might be one person. And their reason for it was, they said, one of the police officers said, the women were too transient. If you look hard enough, you'll just find them in another city. Well, look hard enough then. Also, you can say that about gap year students. And if one of those little cunts goes missing, everyone gives a shit. But these poor women were going missing. Their families were saying, my daughter or my sister or whoever, my mum has gone missing. She last went to this place, and they were like, well, she's probably just got in a car and gone somewhere else. And it's like, And that is the sum total of your investigation.
Yeah, and that's
what
it.
are you on about?
Do something.
Yeah, and because of that lack of effort and empathy and just generally giving a shit, 62 women fucking got murdered. Ugh.
Awful. In 1997, there was an incident. It's Wendy Lynn Exeter, isn't
Wendy's
it?
a great name.
Wendy's a good name. Which you told me.
Yeah, you didn't know this, did you?
I didn't know this. It was invented by J.M. Barrie,
Yeah.
who wrote Peter Pan.
I think that is a bold move to make write a story about a kid who can fly who doesn't grow up with sort of weird sort of abduction undertones, and then also give the main character a name that just doesn't exist.
Wendy.
Yeah.
It is.
Be like, oh, this is dog foo. I'm like, oh, we're just meant to go with that, are we?
Well, Shakespeare made up the name Miranda. Also, I'm pretty sure Rosalind, possibly, you can pull me up on this, I could be wrong, I frequently am. And I think Mercedes.
I don't think
I don't know about Mercedes
with any of those names.
I really like the name Mercedes.
Really?
I think my life would be different if I was called Mercedes Fairburn.
Yeah, in that I think that you would be... You can only be an exotic dancer with that name.
But I do think if a name was different, I think your name...
Really?
Yeah.
I think you should fucking make up names, because someone I know has used my name on something, and now it's everywhere.
It is everywhere, isn't it?
So there's a program called Kiri, which some of you have alerted me to, and I know the guy who's written it, and he's obviously just gone, well, I assume it. Yeah, no, it is from me, because I tweeted him the other day being like, my fucking name is everywhere because of me, and he's like, yeah, sorry about that. Because unfortunately he's very good at his job, and Sarah Lancashire is in it. So and there's billboards everywhere with the word Kiri, and then someone's got blood on their hands.
Yeah,
and it's just a bit much that to be trying to get on with your life, because my name is so unusual.
It's done now. There's going to be loads of Kiris.
Well, apparently New Zealand there is. Apparently it's like Sarah over there. I mean, I'm probably going to get pulled up from a load of people in New Zealand for that, but apparently it's quite common over there. That's where it's from.
There's a comedian called Paul Pirri, and I've always wanted you to get married to him just so you'd be called Kiri Pirri.
Kiri Pirri chicken.
Kiri Pirri. Wouldn't work though, would it?
What, the marriage?
Marriage.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
Oh, by the way, you'll like this, listeners of the podcast. I needed to go around to Rachel's the other day, so I met her sister for the first time.
Yeah, go on.
She answered the door to give me the laptop.
Yeah.
And I was expecting, like, all right, like, how's it going?
Yeah, go on.
And genuinely, she's like the most delicately, softly spoken girl I've ever met. I got in the car with my boyfriend and I was like, I just met Rachel's sister for the first time, and she was like, hiya, you okay? Is it just the laptop you needed? I was like, yeah. And she went, oh, great, I've put the charger in there for you as well. I was like, thanks so much.
Oh, you have been taken in.
No.
You have been taken in.
Genuinely, she was a delight, and she was so, like, delicate. Her voice sounded like a tiny bell ringing in the air on a summer breeze.
See what's happened there? You've been done over. That's what's happened. You have been done over. No. I'm not having it.
Honestly, I was expecting, like, I thought it was someone else that I'd met, but she looked enough sort of like your sister for me to think it was her.
I'm telling you, right? I'll tell you what.
She's a bit taller than you, yeah?
She's a bit taller than me.
Yeah.
I will record her the way she is, in the actual way she is.
Honestly, she was like, hi, is it just the laptop you needed? And, like, her accent isn't even as strong as yours. And I was like, motherfucker, she's a liar.
No,
Rachel's a liar.
I am telling you,
liar.
I am going to record her, because what you got there...
Oh, she'll love that.
What you got there was the show. You got the show.
Have I been ad, mate?
Like when you go on a first
Is
date...
this the real hustle?
Well, like when you go on a first date with somebody and you're nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, should we split the bill?
Yeah.
Oh. And
Don't check their phone in front of them.
Yeah, and then, like, a week later, you're just like...
Give me all your passwords.
Fuck off, mate, yeah. We're done. Done.
Well, I look forward to hearing this recording.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But we can't play it because people will be able to trace us. So what we should do is, like, have you seen the film Grizzly Man by Werner Herzog? It's fucking amazing. It's one of my favourites. So it's a documentary about a guy called Timothy Treadwell who goes to live with bears, gets eaten by them.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing. There's a great little plot twist in there where he gets down to the final two to play Woody Harrelson's part in Cheers. So his parents are sitting there in this really floral sitting room going, I think we can all trace it back to when he didn't get the part in Cheers. So weird. Anyway, so he records these bears, he films them. He stays there too long, and these bears that he's not familiar with come out the forest and attack him. Now, he's got his camera on, but the lens cap is on, so there's an audio recording of him and his girlfriend being eaten by bears.
And it plays it on the documentary?
No, it doesn't play it on the documentary. The documentary is done by Werner Herzog. You know that German guy, Werner Herzog, who's fucking great and bonkers. And so he's listening to it. So his old girlfriend, the one who hasn't been eaten, not in that respect, I'm not going to check cast aspersions.
God.
Anyway, so she's got the tape and he's listening to it and you can't hear anything, you just see her watching him listen to it. And she says, I've never listened to it. And he goes, you must never listen to this. And I've got a recording on my phone of a preview where I died so hard, where I have like that feeling about like every now and then I think, I should just listen to that, see if it's as bad as I think. And I hear Werner Herzog in my head going, you must never listen to this. So what I'm trying to get to is you should record your sister, I'll listen to it.
And we'll film
we'll record it on the podcast.
All right, we'll do it. I'll have to do it covertly.
I can't wait for this.
And I've got to go back to the greatest city on earth on Sunday, so possibly I tell you what I'll do, I'll rile her up like those bears were riled up.
Yeah.
So I'll wind her up a bit and then you'll get the real Rachel, I'm telling you now.
Honestly, that isn't even the same. Like she was practically like a young Maggie Smith.
Oh my God.
Or Dame Judi Dench.
Do not be fooled. Do not be taken in.
You're so furious about this.
I am livid.
Anyway, we're talking too much about bullshit.
Right, come on. Yeah.
Right, so Wendy, poor love. So she is at his trailer. He whacks a pair of handcuffs on her. And she's like, oh, fuck. She's over there because she admits, I'm a drug addict. I know you can get money from him and you can get drugs from him. So that's why I went over there. This is 1997. She went over for booze and drugs. He handcuffs her. She's freaking out. She sees a kitchen knife, brown-handled apparently, stabs him. And she's like, I knew he was going to try and hurt me. So, and she says in the documentary, she goes, I just wanted to kill him. Mm-hmm. As in, like, that was her only way out. He stabs her back and she's like, I can feel this warm stuff running around me. Anyway, she gets away. She runs out, flags someone down. So the woman who she flags down, it's like, this woman's covered in blood. I thought she'd had a fall or something. And then I see her handcuffs. I'm like, oh, fucking shit. So get her, take her to the police station. There is a charge drawn up of like attempted murder, I think it is, and or like abduction and like assault or something. But then because he's a millionaire pig farmer and she's an addict, they were like, a drug addicted prostitute is how they described her. They were like, no, it'll never stick, so they just dropped her.
Well, this is the thing that annoys me. So a woman can be rescued by somebody. And then dropped off at police station, handcuffed and covered in blood. But that's not good enough.
No.
Just because she's a drug addict and a sex worker.
Yeah.
If anything, the fact that she is a drug addict and a sex worker would mean she's one of the most vulnerable people around. And what's happened is probably true.
Exactly.
What would be the point of going to the police station to tell that story? And
also, like... So, yeah, just step back. Like, looking at it in a really mercenary way is, this is a woman who needs to make money to survive, and she has an addiction, so she is fiscally driven in that sense. She also has to look good for her job. What is the advantage of being covered in blood, screaming with a pair of handcuffs?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's very niche, isn't it? Like, what are the chances someone's going to drive past and be like, oh God, I got a boner, finally!
That is just my thing.
Carrie, that's what it was. It was my sexual awakening. So... But do you know what? I mean, I'm going to get into it here. I think my show is going to be about this week. Yeah. Something I have noticed in my life is... This might all get cut. But I'm so fucking bored of being a woman where you have to have anything stick that happens to you as an experience, there has to be a fucking man there to verify it. It's like, you know, that totally fucked up... I can't remember, and I know it's really ignorant to not know, but I think it's in Pakistan, where if a woman is raped, 4 men must testify that she was raped for... It just can't go to court otherwise. So that whole thing of, like, women aren't allowed to have an experience. So, like, I've had loads of shit happen recently where bad things have happened to me, but because a man is saying they're not happening to me, everyone's believing the man, and I'm like, how fucking dare you? Like... I don't get to be, like, my word is immediately dismissed. Or in fact, I don't say anything and it's assumed that I am whatever I am because a man is asserting it. And I think it's the fucking height of misogyny.
Yeah, well, if you look at certain circumstances as well, so a woman also will, I believe, be judged more for a set of circumstances than a man will. And people will talk about a woman more, and the man will get away with stuff scot-free.
Well, look at Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. Myra Hindley was vilified more than Ian Brady.
Yeah.
And also...
Maxine Carr and Ian Huntley.
I'm not saying she's innocent,
no,
but
not
she
at all.
didn't kill... She gave him an alibi, which wasn't right,
she perverted
of course
the course
not.
of justice.
Exactly. She has a super injunction. She's only one of, four... The two boys who killed James Bolger, Mary Bell and Maxine Carr. There's no way that... Well, it's just mad that women get, when they do something wrong, because we're expected to be mothers and nothing else, like caregivers, it's so fucking heavily vilified.
Yeah, I totally agree with this, to be honest, because it's just a bizarre set of circumstances, isn't it?
Yeah. It feels like your opinion and your experience is worth less. And not uniformly, but there's enough cunts in the world for it to feel like overall, on the balance of scale, it's just worthless. And that is fucking frustrating, because it just feels like, does everything have to be a fight? And I know I'm really lucky, and I know I'm really privileged, and I get to do great things, and a lot of the things I get to do that are great are as a result of me being a woman. A competent woman, but a woman nonetheless. I understand that, and I understand I have access to privilege, but I'm fucking bored of trying to fight to just be believed and feel like I have some worth in some people's eyes. It's really fucking irritating.
Well, yeah, I get what you mean. Even on a smaller scale, it's like when I was telling you about a certain email that was sent a couple of weeks ago. Over a year ago now. It's sometimes as well, it's like with comedy clubs, sometimes it takes a male act to go, oh, you should book Rachel. For them to even go, oh, okay then, now you've validated that you think she's okay, maybe we'll think about it.
Anyway... Speaking of women missing, which they are from the comedy circuit, so there's a spike in missing women from 98 to 02. Yeah. So, basically, he's gathering steam. Speed? One of those things. Women. So his brother... so Dave Dickinson from the Vancouver Police said, we knew that more and more women were going missing. But the thing is, people from Low Track weren't coming forward. So people were going up there, they had no problem, so how are we meant to know and be like, because you're the police, and if you know that people are going missing from a community, you need to do everything you can to ingratiate yourself with that community, to support that community, not just go, well, they weren't telling us, so how can we do something about it?
I'm not going down there, there's loads of crime.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We'll get my new shoes muddy.
There's loads of stuff going on there, and I've got enough pairs of handcuffs.
Well, we were looking at pictures, because you were like, oh, I wonder if it's changed. We were looking at pictures earlier, and you were just finding loads of, you were like, fucking hell, they look amazing, but they all look like, it's all these, incredibly sort of beautiful, slim, sort of harrowed looking, they all look like Debbie Harry, don't they?
Pictures are really good, yeah.
They look like album covers, but it's all so
they're having
sad.
a terrible time, but
looking
pictures are amazing, yeah. Really good pictures.
It's really sad.
Now, they set up a task force.
There's another little bit first.
Oh,
so in 1999, an inspector called Kim Rossimo said, listen, there's a serial killer here. There's too many. It's too similar. Same area. All this stuff. And the police were like, no. And it came out in the media. They think there's a serial killer. And the police squashed it straight away. And they were like, absolutely not. There's no way we can prove that it's not for all these reasons. But it wasn't until the families of all these missing women held rallies so that the media couldn't ignore it, and the police certainly couldn't fucking ignore it. There's lots of organisations in that area. The church has an organisation in it, which I think it's called Wish, which works to support sex workers in the area. They came forward and were like, you need to do something. They basically lobbied the police and the local government. So the police set up a task force.
Which, whenever I hear a task force has been set up, I always think, nothing's been done for a very long time.
Yeah.
A task force is always when everything's been ignored for a long time and pressure's been put on.
Yeah. And there's absolutely no way they're like, we'll get our best brains on it. That's going to be the fucking dad's army of it. It is, isn't it? It's going to be just someone who's right, he's got 6 months left. He's got 2 pending sexual assault cases against him. Put him in the basement, in the files. He can be part of that task force. I just don't believe that that new guy on work experience, he could be in the I literally think they just put any old fucker in it.
Yeah, because task force is always we'll look into it.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
First person goes missing in 83. It's now 1999, and this is the first time, even though they know that women are going missing, they posted a reward for information. They just didn't give a shit because the right people weren't going fucking missing.
They didn't care. Though they've also had a report in 1999 as well that somebody had contacted the police to say that at Robert Pickton's farm there was a freezer that contained frozen human flesh, and they never looked into it.
That's if someone gave you that as a tip-off, generally, even the fucking podcast, you'd go up and have a nose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
just,
you'd be like,
just for a day out.
Let's have a look. But yeah, just nothing. Nothing was done.
And it's not like it's usually if it's stuff like this is ignored, there's that wider culture of like there was loads of crime at the time, they just didn't have the resources. But like that doesn't seem like any of that is happening. It just seems like they don't give a fucking shit.
Well, it just annoys me, this kind of thing, because like it's when people don't do the job, because it's like the worst thing that happens if I don't do my job is people don't laugh. Right, that's the worst thing that can happen. But
actually, Rachel, that is the worst thing that cannot happen in the world.
If these don't do their jobs, people are dying.
Yeah.
If the police don't do their job, we're fucked.
Yeah.
It just really irritates me. Just do your job.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. If you don't want to do that job, go and do something else.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, having said that, in the past, all the times that I've worked in offices and done nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I ever had a job that matters. I don't think I have. No one message me and be like, the gift of laughter is what matters, because I'll take my own life.
Yeah, and mine.
February the 5th, 2002. Tip-off about unrestricted guns.
That's it.
So they raided the farm. Now there was a publication ban for a long time afterwards, because this case ended up being quite high profile, because there was this gathering steam about a serial killer and all these women going missing. So they basically, what they found at the farm in February 5th, 2002 was enough to get a warrant to search for the women, and then it came out later, the stuff that they found, and it's pretty horrific.
Yeah, if you really want to read everything they found, you can, but I'm not going to read all of it. I will tell you some of the stuff, because it is important to the story. So they found, there was barrels with teeth in them. There was, a lot of these women were actually identified from DNA.
Yeah.
There was 80 unidentified DNA profiles as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of, it's just horrible. So there's barrels of like heads and hands, heads that had been cut open with hands put in them. Lots of personal belongings, so lots of, jewellery that belonged to some of the women, and
lipstick with
DNA on it, and various other things. Dildos. Now,
it's weird that you turn your nose up at those most.
It's because I know what's happening next.
Oh, right.
So he said, like, there was a gun with a dildo strapped to it.
Yeah, on the end of it.
And he said, oh, that was a makeshift silencer.
Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I don't know what to say about that. Well, I really don't know what to say.
I worry that it's going to plant a seed and Antimas are going to release something.
God.
A lot of them are called like guns or bullets or stuff, like quite artillery-based names for them.
Yeah.
They're fucking terrifying.
So aggressive, isn't it?
I think it is all really aggressive, yeah, but that's something else.
But there's a horrible bit. Now, the blue syringe.
So they found a little syringe with blue stuff in it. And then later on, at the trial, they played a recording from a guy who gave a statement who was friends with Pickton, who Pickton bragged, oh, I know the best way to kill a heroin addict. You inject them with windscreen wiper fluid, which is so fucking horrific.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what that was. But there's like DNA on everything. They found like loads of sex toys under his bed with his DNA on it. And
his brother's DNA was on a lot of these things.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that is interesting. That's what I find particularly,
But also there's a big difference between being a serial killer and like, because there's so many dildos with various bits of DNA. They must have looked like Kaplunk wandering around that place on a weekend.
Also, give them a wash, lads.
Yeah, give them a wipe. You can literally buy specialised wipes.
Give them a wash. Just give them a bit of a clean.
Put it through the tumble dryer, the washing machine. They're meant to be washed.
Tumble dryer? Imagine the sound of dildos.
Oh, it sounded like dildos in a tumble dryer. That sounds like something from a Hull Truck Theatre play, doesn't
it? Now, the other thing, very important, they found meat from the pigs had been mixed with human meat as well. So he was selling these he was selling meat to various people, and
he was giving meat to people, and he was having it at these barbecues. And a few months after the police raided it, they released a public thing going, if anyone from that farm has given you some meat, you need to get rid of it because we think that the human meat and the pig meat has been mixed together, which is horrific. But on February 22nd, they arrest Pickton.
Would you? I mean, because you're vegan now, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Would you ever eat? So if you
well, that's a good thing, isn't it? That I never, when people do, the horse meat, I don't really give a shit about that. But I'm never going to eat. Well, presumably I stay vegan, I'm not going to ever accidentally eat human meat.
Yeah, but what if you're in a plane crash, like alive, and then you like?
Oh, what, like those guys on the Andes who are all celebrities now?
Yeah.
I reckon 25 minutes after a plane crash, if I'm alive, I'll be like, right, who's first? Because that's like carte blanche, then, isn't it? Be like, we're not going to get rescued.
I don't know if I could eat. I have to admit, because we spoke about this. I like to look at people on the comedy circuit, and sometimes I do think I'd hate to eat you.
Really?
Yeah, like
there's a few that
imagine if something happened, you'd be like, ugh.
Yeah, any of those guys who are like, the ones who like expect work, very bitter.
Yeah, not a nice.
No, just taste of Ginster's pasties.
I don't know. I'd quite like them.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh God, if someone tasted a festive bake.
Do you know a celebrity that I'd hate to have to eat?
No, I don't actually.
Chris Tarrant.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think he'd taste like?
I think he'd be fatter. He'd be quite blubbery and like slightly off as well.
I think he might taste like an ashtray. You'd be like, it's quite like smoky.
Yeah, so I'd hate to eat Chris Tarrant. I'd quite like to eat Noel Gallagher. I think he'd taste quite nice. I think he'd taste a bit like gravy.
Oh, that's nice, actually.
And there's not a lot of him, so you wouldn't be overfaced because he's quite small.
Yeah, no, I would. There's no one I look at and I think, you'd be delicious to eat.
I just wouldn't eat human meat. I'd starve to death.
Really?
There's absolutely no way I could do it.
Grow the fuck up, mate.
No, wouldn't. Sorry.
Are you kidding me?
No.
It's just meat.
No.
It's just meat.
No. No.
You wouldn't eat me?
No. No.
Even if we both just had a bit of my leg?
No.
You wouldn't eat it together?
No, because I'm a bit funny about a lot of kinds of meat, and I don't like
I'm a great cook.
I don't like the idea of it being in my stomach.
What if I minced it? So it's just like a spag bol.
But what if I really enjoyed it, and then I got a taste for it?
Yeah, I wake up and you're gnawing at the stump on my leg.
But then I tried...
Very thin slices like prosciutto.
I tried other meat. I thought, I can't eat you. And I was like, I'll try other meat from another person. I was like, but it's just not as good as Kiri.
Oh, God, yeah. I bet I am delicious, yeah.
And then I come back.
I bet I'm absolutely delicious, mate.
This is the weirdest thing we've ever spoken about. Innit?
Yeah. Well, I've got no problem with eating human. My only problem with human is, it'd be like industrial farming now, is that you couldn't like guarantee the welfare standards, and it would be poor brown people who get the brunt of it. If I could pick people, I'd be like, right, you Cambridge footlights cunt, I'm eating you.
Get on this spit.
Yeah, do some. This is the first job you've ever done, and it's to rotate on this spit. Anyway, so they're going through this farm. So this farm's huge. It takes them 2 years to go through everything. They have to fly in forensic experts to tell them what's pig and what's human.
Oh.
Now, it's fascinating this because they find so many types of DNA profiles, but it's really difficult when it comes to trial, which we'll talk about later. You love a trial, don't you, Fairburn?
Cannot stand the trial.
Anyway, there's a difference between DNA and remains. So really, to be charged of murder or anything, you need remains, whereas DNA isn't really just a proof that they were there.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And because so many people are passing through, it's not really proof of anything. So first charges is for Mona Wilson. So they find parts of Mona there, and then Serena Abbott-Way as well. So
the actual people, the murders. These are the murders which they found remains, and he was charged with. So the dates of it: August 30th, 1997, there was Marnie Lee Frey. In 1999, so March 1st, Georgina Faith Papin, who was 34. February, Brenda Ann Wolfe, who was 32. 2001, June 5th, Andrea Jonesbury, who was 23. August the 1st, Serena Abbotsway, 29. And November the 23rd, Mona Lee Wilson, who was 26. So these were the women that they actually found remains of.
So, yeah, they've got all these, and then there's this public outcry happening because of the meat. Everyone's freaking out about, like, well, did I eat something there? And no one knows if some of the restaurants were buying meat on the cheap from there, because he didn't have a license to sell it, but that doesn't mean that people weren't buying
It's like League of Gentlemen with the special stuff.
It really is,
yeah.
isn't it?
Everyone going around having nosebleeds. Oh, God.
Do you know what? You know, we're talking about... I know, I'm not going to get into it.
No, go on.
Well, like...
You've started now.
So since I've been a vegan, which isn't very long, obviously, what I found is vegans have been fucking lovely about it. People have got in contact with me on various things and gone, oh, here's a recipe, and, like, great, this thing's really useful, and I found this is... Like, I can't believe how, like, welcoming it is. It's so lovely. You know, the only people who've been a cunt about it are people who eat meat. Like, have been absolute... like... Generally, it's been fine, but like I did a post about Veganuary, going, I've been a vegan for a bit now, and I really like it. And then something stupid, because that's my MO, about our fart loads more, so if you find farts funny, great. Something like that on Twitter. And then some people are like, do you mind me asking, like, innocent enough question actually, do you mind me asking why you're vegan? And I was like, oh, for these reasons. And then some other people came back and were like, a bit like, yeah, but what about mama? And it's like, I've just made a fart joke. I don't really want to discuss, of course it's flawed. There is no perfect system, but we all have to just fucking try and make this place a bit better. And, like, some fucking idiot retweeted it and went, I think I'll just have a burger, and be like, well, that's absolutely, what do you think I expect me to do, be offended by it? I don't give a shit what you eat, mate.
It amazes me when people are getting offended that somebody else has chosen to choose a diet that doesn't affect them.
It is really irritating when I see people being like, ugh, pious vegans. And I'm like, I couldn't give a fuck what you eat, mate. I'm literally like, I don't judge anyone. Over Christmas, all I did was cook meat for my family because that is what they want, and that's fine. That's their choice. But, like, it's like atheists, you know, when they're like, fucking Christians. You're like, there's only one person here ramming it down my neck. Whereas Christians are like, hey. And that's what vegans are like. They're like, God, it's so nice that you're part of the gang. Like, it's just so weird that people are so fucking aggressive about shit like that.
Well, I've had enough. I was actually saying, we were talking about this before, my New Year's resolution is to get rid of about 5 people on Twitter and Facebook who piss me off on a regular basis. You make a joke, they try and make one better. Hello, I'm a comedian here, pal. What do you do, right? It pisses me right off. Also, passive aggressiveness, i.e., someone tweets me, oh, you on at this comedy club this weekend? Because I've just been going through the listings and your name's on it. Well, yeah, that would mean that I'm on there then, if my name's on at the fucking listing.
Sometimes the listings are wrong in their defence.
Or sometimes they can't cope with the fact that you're doing a club that they haven't got a chance with.
Oh, is it a comedian?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, someone who claims to be a comedian, but never does anything. And then, oh, well, I've booked tickets. You'd better be funny. You'd better be worth the ticket price.
Well, no, because I'm worth 1/4 of the ticket price. Yes, like, my argument.
You know what? Come, don't come, laugh, don't laugh. I don't give a shit about you or your shitty life, mate.
I think people think they're having bants, though, don't they?
It's not bants, though.
You know what a lot of it is I think I'd say this.
Do you want to speak to a man like that?
Do you reckon?
You'd be like, hey, mate, I'm coming to see you at the show. Want to hang out after?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I'll stick around for a drink afterwards. Yeah, I wonder, maybe it does happen with guys. You know what I blame when I say this about 4 times a day? Britain's got fucking talent and X Factor and all that shit. A while ago, when we started letting people who watch stuff like that have a say on whether people are good at stuff or not, that's when it all went wrong. Because now every cunt thinks that they are... Now, like, when my mum talks about people's footwork on Strictly, I want to be like, shut your fucking mouth. Unless you're a dancer, you don't get to have a... What you mean is, I like the colours and the noise and the shapes. They were nice for me. You don't actually know anything technically about that. Like, thank fuck there isn't a Strictly for stand-up. Because everyone thinks they know about that shit anyway because they've seen 3 episodes of Live at the Apollo. But, like, everyone's a fucking expert on everything. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine, like... I love my job, it's amazing. But... for people who don't do jobs like that, where you're judged and everyone thinks they know, imagine someone, if you work in an office and a fucking comedian comes in and goes, oh, you're doing a spreadsheet like that, are you? Okay, all right, I'll leave you to it.
It's not the way I'd do it.
Yeah, like, unbelievable. Not even using the...
Would have opened with Excel.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, but we have to just tolerate this thing of everyone thinking they know our job, or being like, you know, when people tweet you and like, heard you on the radio, you're not funny, and be like, I'm on the radio, ergo I am fucking funny. You're sat at home listening to it, maybe you're not funny.
Yeah, and also, I don't give a shit if you don't think I'm funny. Because I'm the one doing it. Do you know what I mean? You're not doing it. You're sitting in an audience with a face on you, ruining your own night out because you don't think I'm funny.
It's so weird. I just wouldn't give unsolicited feedback on anyone's out. I have to fight it back. But, like, you know, in Home Bargain, I'm like, excuse me, do you know that you've actually been really rude to me? Actually, that is the kind of thing I would do. But, have you been, you know, the B&M in By Us?
Oh, yeah,
Have you seen that woman who's dead, who's on the counter?
Oh, I've seen her, yeah,
She's
yeah.
amazing, isn't she?
She's great, yeah.
She's the dimensions and colour of a raisin.
Yeah.
And, like, I've not seen her. I think she might have died over Christmas.
No.
She's purple, mate.
She will be in the south of Spain having a good time.
Do you reckon?
She's gone away.
She's so old, but
she's gone away with her family. She's going to live on a farm. That's where she's gone.
She's on a farm in Wales. Or she's in that bungalow with my goldfish.
No, I think, why don't you ask about her? I'm going up there in a bit. Do you want me to go in and ask?
What, will you ask after her? Oh, you're backing down now, aren't you?
You know the little woman that looks like the woman off Poltergeist? Where's she? Can't ask that, can I?
Yeah, you can.
I'll go in and ask.
She's great. She's I love it. She never looks at you once while she's serving you. And she's always rolling her eyes, and she's like, how long have they been in on that break now? And she's always kicking off about something. I really like her. I'm like, can we go to the dead one whenever we're in there? Anyway, right. So, Dave Pickton, there's an interesting thing with him where he meets some of the victims' families.
Oh, God.
And he said, like, he's really, like, apparently doesn't stop talking for the first 45 minutes. And they're really sort of, these families are really sort of shaken and really hostile towards him. He was saying he hates...
Sounds like someone I know that.
He hates the smell of pigs. Maybe he's a horse. He said his brother used to like killing them. He said when you kill a pig, you get a funny smell on you, and he used to have that all the time. And he said he's simple, though. He was simple. He couldn't operate machinery. I couldn't trust him. He didn't think that his brother did it. He said, no, he can't do it. He's not up to it. He said, my brother doesn't associate with people. When I go for a coffee, he just sit in the truck and wait. So he basically said he's too antisocial and thick to be a mass murderer.
But then all the evidence... Maybe he did it. Maybe he had a hand in it. Has anyone thought of this? His DNA's all over the dildos, mate.
What, unless he dildoed them to death? I don't think it's an issue. Dildoed to death.
Dildoed to death. I think I'll call me Edinburgh Show that. Dildoed to death.
Yeah, I think he said, you know, he's meant to have slaughtered like 2,000 pigs over however many years. So he's like, he couldn't have done that on their own. There must have been people there helping him. So I think he's just saying he might have done it, but he certainly wasn't the mastermind. And he might have gone back because this interview was a while ago, but yeah. I don't know. It's amazing what people will, like, deny when it's their family.
Yeah. Well, apparently his Pickton's method was that he would offer women money for sex. He'd take them back to the farm and he would handcuff them, rape them. He would then either strangle them or shoot them. He would gut them like a pig and make sure they bled out. Sorry, this is horrible. And then he said that they think he ran them through the wood chipper and then fed them to the pigs.
Fucking hell.
So it's horrific. And this is why because that is such a big undertaking. This is why that some people think that he works with someone else.
I think if you're up there on your own, you could do all that. If you're not
interrupted, it could probably take a couple of days or whatever.
No, it won't. 2 days max. That's my dog yawning.
He's so bored of murder, isn't he?
He's so bored of murder, mate. And now he's just got his head on Rachel's foot.
Looking really depressed.
Yeah, he is depressed.
I know how you feel, pal. I know how you feel.
I think if you're left to your own devices in bumblefuck nowhere and there's loads of barns, I think you just crack through this in your own time.
Possibly, yeah.
Because if you think about it, over like 15 years, 60 is a lot, but it's not that many. It's not like you could non-stop be doing nothing else. You know, if he's got to go out for the day to market or whatever, or go and get some machinery or go and get some supplies, we would just leave them, you know, bleeding out or whatever.
But see, it's all fine and well his brother saying that he didn't do it, but then there are tapes of him talking about what he did.
Yeah.
And then he also said, I wanted to get to 50, I wanted a round number. So he did do it.
He did do it.
And I wouldn't be... And I can't say anything. Maybe his brother knew more than he's letting on.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Allegedly.
Having said that, I don't know what my sister gets up to, so...
Mate, you don't even know what she sounds like.
Telling you, recording it.
So
the farm as well, we've not mentioned this, Gary Ridgway apparently visited Piggy Palace,
apparently, there's a rumour that Gary Ridgway popped by old Piggy Palace.
Piggy Palace. And also, someone tweeted us, can't remember who it was, sorry, I didn't meant to take a screenshot, tell us that Nickelback actually played one of their first gigs there.
Oh, God.
Awful. Just gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Literally scene of the crime. So the trial starts January the 30th, 2006. Goes on for 2 years, basically. It ends December the 11th, 2007. Now, there's 27 charges. So they go through all these... he pleads not guilty. They're all first-degree murder. So they go through all the evidence, see whether it's admissible. One of them is thrown out. And it took ages to sift through all this evidence. Now, the judge, Justice Williams, on August 9th...
Lucky that he's got a first name like that.
Wait, normative determinism. So what he decided to do, the judge said, right, I'm going to do this as two things. One group of 6 murders, first degree, and then another group of 20 of second degree. Now, these were stayed, as in, like, boxed off on August 2010, so they never actually went to trial. Now, people were like, why aren't you trialling these? So the judge's logic was, right, I'm going to do this as 6 of first degree because I think if we do 26, there's an increase of a mistrial. It's fucking tough on a jury to sit through 26 murders. Also, those 6 have... because there's this publication ban, he couldn't say exactly, but he said they have a different set of evidence that is materially different. So what I think he's saying is, there's 6 bodies here, let's try and get him done for these 6, and I know those 20 aren't going to have a thing, but it just means that we're more likely to get these 6 done and a conviction than 26 and get things thrown out, appeals, more expensive, etc., etc. Because he was like, this could go on for 2 years, which it did anyway. So the jury trial starts on January the 22nd. Now, the media ban was lifted.
So there was...
Serena Abbotsway, who was 29, and she disappeared in August 2010. It was her foster mother who reported her missing on August the 22nd. So the other one was Mona Lee Wilson, who was... These are the first 2 that they found remains of. She was only 26. She went to the doctor on November the 30th, 2001, and then she was reported missing that night. Then it's Andrea Joesbury. She's 22. God, they're so fucking young. She was last seen June 2001 and was reported missing June 8th, 2001. Brenda Ann Wolfe, she was 32. She was last seen in February 99, and then she's reported missing April 25th, 2000. That's really sad. That's like over a year. Ugh.
Horrible, isn't it?
Marnie Lee Frey, she was last seen August 97, and she was reported missing December 29th, 1997. So that's after Christmas as well. I don't know, that's always weird when it's like, do they just go, oh, we really thought she'd be home for Christmas, and that's when they step in. Georgina Faith Papin, she was last seen January 99, and she was reported missing in March 2001. Oh, it's so fucking sad.
It's horrible, isn't it?
And obviously there's like 20 more names, but those are the 6 that they went to trial for. So, there was all sorts of fucking bullshit that went on with this trial. For a start, the judge called out one of the jurors and went, someone said you've decided he's already innocent and you're not going to convict because you think that he couldn't have done it on her own. And they were like, no, I didn't. And he was like, well, you're saying you don't think he could have done it. And because there was no proof that she definitely said that, she didn't give a statement or it wasn't recorded, he couldn't kick her off the jury. So she stayed on. So that's fucking mad for a start.
That is, yeah. You'd think the judge would be able to say, you, get out.
Yeah, right. New jury. So December the 9th, 2007, he's found not guilty, but for first degree murder. But he's found guilty, because they did this weird thing where the jury said, can we say he is guilty, but not for first degree? So it was all sort of weird stuff that nearly was like a mistrial. So they found him guilty of second degree and sentenced him to 25 years, which is the maximum.
Which was the maximum sentence you could get then.
Now, what they said is, the families were like, what the fuck? Why is it second degree murder? And the prosecution didn't ever tell them, we're going to accept that, which they did. And they were like, yeah, we should have told you. But our logic is, if he appeals, he's less likely to appeal. If he appeals, for this thing will go, right, it's going back to first degree and we want all 26 murders. So it was their way of like, let's just get him in fucking prison and keep him there for a really long time. He's not going to get let out. So I can see the thing, but they don't tell the families found out when it came out in the news.
Oh, God. He tried to appeal as well, didn't he, in 2009?
Yeah.
But it was dismissed.
Yeah. And then he went to the Supreme Court with it, the Canadian Supreme Court, 2010, and they rejected it. And there was a recommendation that there was an investigation into the police's work or lack thereof, because it was so bad and it took the families to get justice, basically. In August 2006, these letters came out in the press. This guy called Thomas Lauday, he's 27-year-old, considers himself an amateur journalist, pretended to be some down-on-her-luck woman and wrote to him about the crimes and about various things in which Robert Pickton like quotes bits of the Bible and he says he's innocent and things like that, and then he releases these letters for money. It will definitely be for money. And apparently he does this all the time. He writes to different people who are incarcerated and he said, I just want the public to know the truth about them.
You're a pest and you're probably wanking as you do it. It's not. That's just weird.
He's definitely not out there on a crusade for justice. He knows that he'll get like fucking $2,000 for every letter he sends to some local rag. Grubby, innit?
Yeah, it is grubber.
But 2 years ago now, 2016, a book was released. Pickton, in his own words. Now, apparently, he gave a manuscript about a book that he wrote to a cellmate who's being released. The cellmate then posts it to another guy who types it up.
He was a retired, what was it? Builder or something.
Yeah, it was a retired builder who then releases this book, like actually gets published, and then everyone goes, oh, there's this huge hoo-ha, you can't profit from that.
Hang on a minute.
Exactly. And so then the publishers go, oh, fuck, shit, and go, oh, no, we didn't know he said it was him, we didn't know it was
and
actually...
And they pulpit like Bouncing Back by Alan Partridge.
Yeah. And then Amazon pull it as well. But I bet it'd be like, Nosferatu was nearly destroyed except for like one copy. So I bet there's copies out. Oh, God, they'll be worth so much, won't there? There'll be some fucking dodgy forums.
I mean, how well written do you think it is? Do you know what I mean?
What, if you think that a guy with an IQ of like... What was it, like 76?
Something like that, yeah.
Has written a book and then passed it on to someone who has, it would appear, no formal training in journalism or as a writer.
It's going to be...
It'll be as badly written as any of the 50 Shades of Grey.
Absolutely.
And just as many sex stuff. Just as many, just as much, rather, sexual concept.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's also doing, as we referred to it, a podcast, isn't he? He's recorded all his diaries. And you can...
Fucking Samuel Pepys.
If you want to listen to them, I think there's some clips on YouTube. I'm not interested, don't give a shit.
I listen to... They're part of documentaries, him talking about bits. He's got a very sort of like... It's like his voice is like the part of an actor playing a social outcast. It's very weird. It's very weird. But that's him. He's horrible.
Horrible. I'm glad to see the back of this one.
Yeah, me too.
Horrible.
It's so mean. I know that sounds pathetic, but like I'm just so like... It's just so horrible that you can just have these fucking desires and then if you're wealthy, which is what he was, and a fucking man, you can tear through all these poor women who've just slipped through the cracks of the system, and gross fact that most of them are like... the term that they're using, which is Aboriginal Canadians. Yeah. It's incredibly sad.
There's a lot of issues raised in this
it is, isn't
episode.
So that's Robert Pickton, old pork chop Rob.
Yep, that's him.
So who are we doing next?
I don't know.
Let me see, because I suggested one, and then I thought, oh no, who did I suggest?
Did you say? Joanna Danahay.
Yes, but it feels a bit recent. But there was one I was like, oh, that would be... We'll have a think, shall we?
Yeah. We'll have a think. Tweet us.
Do you know what? It was actually a suggestion that someone wrote. Let me just check the page now. Oh, yeah. We love talking to you on Facebook and Twitter. Keep chatting away. It's really funny. Have you been fucking brutal about the way Rachel looks as a 16-year-old?
Good job I can take it.
Can you?
Yeah, I mean, people can say what they want. You know, I look better now. I'm aware of that. Some people look terrible all their lives.
I think that was very good of you to put that up there. I would have.
Is it what they call being a good sport?
I think
Is that what they call it?
I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
It's fine. It's fine.
Someone wrote a really good. Who was it?
Also, don't ask for Levi Belfield anymore because we're not doing him.
No.
So there's one off your list that we're not going to do.
Yeah, not for a very, very, very long
no.
time. It's just too recent and too weird.
Yeah.
Boys, he's just fucking horrible. Also, like, stuff will keep coming out about him. So yeah, keep chatting to us on Facebook and Twitter because we really like that.
Yeah, we do. It's good fun.
And thank you to everyone who's coming to the live shows. Now, are we allowed to say? There is a live show. It's not on... We've got another one penciled at London. I'm dead against it. Of course I am. Because I think that we don't want to outstay our fucking welcome. But yeah, it's looking... Maybe it'll happen in about March.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll obviously do a different... Who should we do for the live shows?
It's a good question. I don't know.
I think Delphine LaLaurie.
Delphine LaLaurie.
Should be one
That's
of them.
a good call.
But it's quite brutal in places. Christy. Yeah, not a bad one.
Yeah.
John George Haig, that's what someone asked for.
The acid bath guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do him next.
Although did he only kill 2?
Yeah, that's true.
So he's not a serial killer. You know the restrictions on this.
You know the rules, guys.
You know the rules. We'll think about it. Tweet us anyway and let us know.
Thank you for listening. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We really appreciate
We
it.
do.
Bye.
Bye-bye.